Greetings guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath, so good to share some energy with you today. We're going to jump right into the topic here. How do you solve a problem like Christian keys, or the problem or conundrum regarding one Christian keys. I'm going to figure out how to title it, but essentially that's what we're going to work on really kind of going over. I want to give you guys an astrological breakdown as to why this went the way that it did. And for those of you that are not familiar, Christian Keys is a Hollywood actor and director and a writer who has recently made allegations. He made them at a very specific time. And I don't care about what the rest of the world is saying. I'm here to give you the metaphysical perspective and side of things. He made it at a time during a retrograde, a very specific retrograde that will affect him for the rest of his life. Not because he came out or there'll be punitive effects or damages or retribution, and all of that very well could be part of his portion. However, the fact is that he did it during Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. We are in the last quarter of the year, and it is Capricorn season. And we are here on the first day of the new year. Happy New Year's to you. But what he did was he lodged his complaint in the most peculiar and somewhat clumsy way. Now, if you are a victim of any kind of SA, abuse, rape, there is never a right way to come out and say these things have happened to me. He's alleging that he has been propositioned and assaulted by various members of the Hollywood elites and glitterati, by billionaires and women and men alike. So, well, not a woman billionaire, but he did mention that there were billionaire men that were propositioning him. And we all started to do the math, because the math has always been mathing, and it has never been mathing more than in the year of 2023, when we were in the age of Aquarius, when all of the receipts were necessary. And what I mean by receipts is everyone was coming forward with the proof of whatever they were saying. We've never seen such a wide swath of takedowns that just came tower after tower, which would be a tarot phrase. A tower moment is scorpionic energy of a major surprise ending when too much effery has been afoot. Well, with that coupled with Aquarian energy, it means that the jig is up. That's what Aquarian energy says. And so, he is every right. His energy was in the right place to lodge the complaints. But the timing of the lodged complaints is why, to the collective, it feels, to the people at large, to netizens, to the people on the internet watching, it felt, and he did lodge this complaint on a live. So specifically, he used the age of Aquarian energy ruling the interwebs as well, and being out into the future. He used this energy to lodge his complaint, stating that Cassie, who had recently also complained, not just complained, Cassie took action, swift, decisive action. Cassie was moving strategically. Cassie also had some ancestral help from one Kim Porter, who has passed over, who was they were like tag team WWE in the wrestling match, metaphysically speaking. If you do not believe me, go check out Sloan Bella's channeling of Kim Porter from months ago, when she gave us a specific date. She's a psychic medium here on this platform, and she gave us a specific date, and Kim Porter came through and said she was haunting Diddy, and boy, if every single word didn't come true. If you don't believe in the afterlife, you will after you watch that video. But what I will tell you is Cassie lodged her complaint before the retrograde, and Cassie was strategic and soldier-like about it. Now, there's no right way to be a victim, okay? But what I'm going to tell you that made this messier for Christian Keys is that he came forward with his statement during this Capricorn retrograde. Now, if we're dealing with Capricorn, then we're dealing with themes of your self-worth, your finances, your workplace relations, how you are compensated and paid, changes of career. So what he has done is effectively launched himself into a different stratosphere, but not in the way that he thinks he has launched himself into a different stratosphere. He may very well get the payday that he is owed us. Capricorn has a lot to do with finances as well. He is going up against, allegedly, a Virgo. Allegedly. I'm not going to name the name, but one of the distinct voice billionaires that we have reasonably deduced that he's confirmed in comments. Christian Keys has said, it's crazy you guys are saying the name. Well, there are about 2 or 3 names that have been thrown out. So if one of them is allegedly a person that I may think it is, and you may think it is, then they are a Virgo. And that means that coins and reputation and being fastidious matters. I'm even surprised that they got caught up in this, but hubris is a hell of a drug. Okay? Our egos, there, but for the grace of God go any of us. Check yourself. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we all get beside ourselves when we have a little bit more than what used to be in our life. And so that's a cautionary tale for any of you who are growing in your clouds, or you are becoming influencers, or you are reaching out amongst the world. You need to move integrally, because there will always be someone with a story, and you do not want someone to tell your story or tell a story about you that you feel isn't true. So behave with integrity. That's a quick message from the inner teacher and mama in me. But what I'm going to tell you is this: the reason this has been such a shit show, which is exactly what it's been, is because even though he cited Cassie as his inspiration, he did not move strategically as Cassie did. Cassie was in quiet, private litigations with them about what was going to happen. And when they wouldn't meet what she was saying needed to be met, she called their bluff and said, bet. And then they said, we won't bet. Within 24 hours, we didn't even have a chance to make videos about it as content creators, because it was settled in the most record of time. It was one of the most vile things we'd ever seen. The documentation was there. It was 35 pages, and really it could have been hundreds, and it probably was. Kim Porter was writing a book. I'm sure Cassie absolutely did and could too. That's just my own, intuitive hit on that. But what I'm going to tell you is that it was condensed down to that, and Diddy knew that he did not want us pouring over all of that infinitesimally. He knew that the dirt was going to come out. He knew that the dirt is evidence there. It's on video. We watched him be who he was the whole time. It was right before our eyes, hidden in plain sight. But the difference is Cassie moved strategically. So by the time the overnight settlement happened, Cassie had done emotional damage. Bombastic side eye from the world to Diddy forever. Christian comes out and alleges that things have happened. I believe Christian is telling 100% the truth. But Christian's timing screwed him. And this is why you need to understand your astrology. People think it makes no difference, but kings and queens have used it for millennia. I'm telling you, it matters. He did this at a time, and he did it in a sloppy way because he didn't have his ducks lined up. Never a right way to be a victim. But the reason that we all are like, okay, we believe you, but everyone collectively feels that. They're like, okay, we stand by you and we know you're telling the truth, but it was an interesting way. It was like, what are you wanting from this? Are you wanting to maybe get a settlement, which you're fully entitled to? Are you wanting to lambast them? He said he waited till the statute of limitations ran out, as if to, kind of give credence to the fact that he was not just on a money chase. It wasn't just a bag chase. He was actually trying to get justice. But if you were using Cassie as your hero and your Shiro and your leader in the charge for taking down a powerful multi-millionaire to billionaire mogul, then why not follow her blueprint? Because she left one. She did it brilliantly. It was a chef's kiss. We'd never seen anything executed so beautifully regarding an accusation that didn't get drug out for years and then end up in court, like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Like, she felled him. She literally, it was David and Goliath, and she just hit him right between the eyes, and it was down. Sorry, guys. All right. So what I'm going to tell you is that is the energy that Christian was under. It was not positive. Because, not because of what he's saying, and not because of his accusations, but because he launched his complaint during a time frame when we were in Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is when communication needs to be really finely poured over. It doesn't mean don't act ever, don't sign contracts. It means read the fine print. It means be very careful of what you're saying, because you may come to regret the way that it was said. It doesn't mean that it didn't need to be said. It means that what came out will not be read, understood, or heard in the way that you meant to convey it. It will be misconstrued, and his rollout of his alleged abuse has been messy, to say the least. That's why we all are resonating with it and looking at it and saying, yuck. We know this happened to you, but what's happening here? And maybe we were spoiled because of Cassie's precise execution. Leave it to a woman to get it done right. But her precise execution, she did. She got it done right. We'd never seen anything like it. It was landmark, monumental. It was history making. It'd never been done that way. We'd seen all kinds of people lose their jobs, from Bill O'Reilly to, I can't think of all the ones, but all of these people have lost jobs and been demoted and taken down and come off the air because of complaints alleged or lodged against them. But it took a while. They didn't topple immediately. It happened over time. But because Cassie was working on divine timing, and not only that, she has some ancestral help from Kim Porter too, meaning someone was acting as an angel on her behalf that was like, you are going to finish the work that I started. She literally put a battery in Cassie's back, and they were communicating allegedly prior to her passing. That's according to Jaguar White, so that's not my allegedly to have. That is her information. But what I will tell you is this: Christian Keys missed. It doesn't mean he didn't have it happen. It doesn't mean he doesn't deserve compensation. It means that the astrology mathematics are against him now. It will shift the way that his career moves in the future. It absolutely will, because of the Capricorn energy and that Mercury retrograde. It also will shift the way he is thought of. He will be forever questioned and second guessed and doubted, even though I know for a fact in my gut he is not lying. There are no lies told here. This is not just a shakedown. But I will tell you this: he is a Leo sun sign, July 24th. Leo energies are meant to be some of the actors and actresses of the zodiac. His live was long and drawn out, and a lot of people had a problem with that. We can be long-winded, okay? That's the thing. Leos can be long-winded, but beyond that, Leos have a flair, a dramatic flair, let's say, and Christian has that as well. That doesn't mean he wasn't abused. That doesn't mean he wasn't inappropriately touched. It doesn't mean he wasn't violated. It just means that his rollout of it and his communication of it would be naturally infused with his personality traits. And then you add in a Mercury retrograde that is in the sign of career and colleagues and finances, and it was a recipe for disaster. You know, during the live, he said several times, and I watched the full live, he said, my brothers are here calling, my family's calling, my people are calling. Those were angels that were calling, that were trying to get him off the line. Because not that damage would have been able to be stopped. It was already out. It was going to be screenshotted, screen recorded, all of that, right? But what the angels were trying to do, they were saying, yes, what you're saying is true, but we want you to be more prepared to kind of do what Cassie did do, so you can move in that way similarly and have the same reciprocated energy. But he made a choice out of emotion, which Mercury retrograde will allow us to be in. And it will tell us that you need to speak out now, act now. Thank God it's over today on January 1st. But this is why at the end of the live, it felt like he should take a bow instead of politely bowing out. It felt performative. And that is because of his natural zodiac traits, which we're not going to fault him for. But it is because he chose to do it at a time when, whether you believe in what Mercury retrograde has in store, please know you will be affected by it. Again, it doesn't mean do not do your business. We don't stop living. There's several throughout every year. What it does mean is be circumspect about the business that you share. Be circumspect about the way that you communicate, and make sure that you handle your words and your contracts and the fine print and the details with care. That was the problem with Christian Keyes. Not that he was abused, not that he was displeased with the behavior, with the disrespect. The problem was that he didn't protect his neck regarding communication, and it's causing a lot of incoming disrespect because people are not believing what they heard. Even though they believe it, there was all of those other factors that we're feeling collectively that just felt a little off for whatever reason. For whatever reason that may be. Believe male victims. It's hard to come forward. He will be, for my intuitive hit, compensated greatly. But he did impugn his character by choosing that astrological dead zone date. People will never look at him the same way. And I know that not just because I say so as a professional intuitive empath, but because it's in Capricorn, which deals with our standing in the career work field, our longevity, how we have built a career over time. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of long lessons. It takes 28 and a half years for Saturn to rotate and get to the place in your chart where it was the day you were born. So to make a full rotation, it moves very slow. And it is associated with Chronos. It is associated with Father Time, essentially. Saturn would be Odin as well. It's very much the energy of father. But what do we know about our fathers? The lessons are a little harder. With fathers, there's less compassion when we're moving from the masculine energy. And because he decided to come forward in that, there will be accountability that's taken, but there will also be accountability on his back for the way that he has spoken. Just like a father would take you to task and be like, well, what are you doing? And what did you say? And whatever. Picture riding a bike and you fall off and you're in front of your dad. Your dad might be like, get back on. He might even take off the training wheels like my dad did. Your mom might kiss your boo-boo, put a bandage on your knee, tell you try again later, maybe give you a little juice box and tell you to sit down in the shade for a while. That's the difference of the father energy of Capricorn and Saturn and Mercury retrograde. So now we have a father that is confused and not seeing things clearly, and they're very angry, but someone's going to take accountability. So some of this will land on Christian, even though he was the alleged victim. But he will also get compensation because he has truth in what he is saying. But the career that he has spent 28 to 30 years building now may be eviscerated as a consequence, but he will have compensation. It's weighing the pros and the cons. And at the end of it, Saturn will tap him on the back and say, what lesson have you learned, son? Not that he was not to be a victim, but he learned something even in this as the victim about his communication methods, styles, choices, and when is the right time. Because Saturn is all about taking your time to find the right time. Anyway, that's the mathematical breakdown. The math that wasn't mathing is now mathing. He did it in a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. It will affect him for the rest of his life regarding his career. But he will also not be in destitute despair. The money will come in from silent places somewhere. Or he can make this bigger. Maybe with a clear head out of retrograde, his strategy can be more like Cassie. And then if he wants to be paid and compensated, he can be. But if he continues to be messy, he will go down in the annals of history, a la Capricorn and Saturn, as absolutely messy, even though he is ever the victim, actually. So good sharing energy with you guys. Come back and join me next time, and we'll continue to evolve together.